South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Looking to bet smarter? Get sports betting insight and winning picks straight from the South Point Hotel and Casino.
I think we're going to get goals from both sides here. Give me over 5.5.
That is also one of my favorite plays of the weekend is the Colts -3 on the road.
So you're getting plus 130 here.
I mean, how can you go against Tusky?
Exactly.
Join Sports by the Book at 10 a.m. Pacific and bet your winning edge.
Heading to Las Vegas to catch the action at Allegiant Stadium? Skip the traffic and the sky-high room rates of the Strip. Book your stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. The South Point is located just 7 miles away from the stadium, and it's a quick trip up the freeway, making it an affordable rideshare or taxi ride. And don't worry about getting here when you land in Vegas. We offer a convenient airport shuttle to get your getaway off to a stress-free start. Shuttles are also available on Raider game days for a small fee. So whether you're rooting for your team or seeing your favorite band in concert at Allegiant Stadium, South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa is your ticket to all the excitement.
Hello and welcome in, everybody. You are watching Sports by the Book. We are live from the beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, live from the South Point Hotel and Casino, the locals' favorite. This is a show about sports betting, trying to make everybody a more educated, better sports bettor. Always have to start with a foundation. Starting tonight, we have a 5-day marathon of post-playoff football here. I am so excited. We're getting started tonight with the Fiesta Bowl, and then it rolls on throughout the weekend. We've got Wild Card Weekend coming up in the NFL. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're happy to be here with you. I'm Alex White, third-generation handicapper, and joining me on the show today, we will have Dwayne Colucci in just a few minutes from the Rampart. He'll give us all the updated odds there and maybe even some picks that he likes. I know a lot of people do tune in and watch us live because not only do we get his takes on hockey, NFL, we also get some pony picks. So look forward to that. And then in about 15 minutes, the sportsbook director here at the South Point will join us as well, Chris Andrews. So all three of us will kind of talk through these playoff games. Really looking forward to the 2 in college football and the 6 we have in the National Football League. Kind of just a recap from yesterday. Ryan McCormick is out today because he is traveling to the Fiesta Bowl. Looking forward to that. We will get a clip from him. He had a fantastic day yesterday, especially on the ice. Got there with a couple underdogs. So did take the puck line with the Canadiens, plus 170. He had the Blackhawks, as did I, plus 105. Won that one fairly easy against the Blues. He also had the Utah Mammoth, minus 125, said he might play that puck line as well, which they did cover. And he had the Sharks at plus 210. So if you followed Ryan in some hockey yesterday, he had a very profitable day. Tonight, he does have Ole Miss on the money line. So we'll break that down and see what myself, Dwayne, and Chris Andrews like in that one. Overall, though, hockey favorites were just 2 and 3. 4 puck lines did cover, 2 reverse puck lines. Totals went 2 and 3, so 3 unders there on the ice. In college basketball, favorites were 35 and 18 straight up, 26, 24, and 3 ATS. A little bit of a tough day there. I went 3 and 1. Totals were not my thing yesterday for myself or Kenny White's play of the day. Did not get there with our overs. But overall, pretty good day. 3 and 1 for me on the hardwood. NBA yesterday favorites, 10 and 2 straight up, 7 and 5 ATS, and totals were 4 and 8. So 8 out of the 12 games stayed under that total. Again, we're looking forward to the next few days. Tomorrow we will have Football Frenzy. Starting at noon. It is 1 to 2 hours just covering all things football. Looking ahead, we will talk about the Peach Bowl between Indiana and Oregon, and then we will talk about those 6 wildcard games again with myself, Chris Andrews, Vinny, and Ryan McCormick will be back with us. We have a poll question for you, and it is an alternate. So which one do you like here? Do you like Miami to win by more than that 3 or 3.5 that has been there all week? Do you like Miami minus 9.5 to win by 10? You're getting a plus 180. Do you like Ole Miss to not only get the upset, but also cover a 3.5 point spread? You're getting plus 240. Or do you think it's going to be a very high scoring game? Over 57.5 is plus 150. Or do you think it is a defensive battle there? Under 45.5 is plus 180. Let us know if you are watching live. We'd love to hear from you guys. Which alternate you would be the most likely to take? Those are available here at the South Point, as well as some other props here that we have up on the screen. So take a look at that. Let us know. And if you're interested in any of that, come on down to the South Point or the Rampart and get your bets in. We also have some parlay cards that I am very intrigued by because I do like a lot of dogs coming into this weekend with the 8 games. You can get some good numbers here or even ties win cards, which can be very helpful when you're taking underdogs. All right, let's take a quick break. Let's check in with Dwayne. We'll be back in less than a minute here on Sports by the Book, and we'll have a sports book director up there at the Rampart, Dwayne Colucci, joining us here in just a few minutes. All right, here we go. Thursdays, one of my favorite days. We have our good friend Dwayne Colucci joining us live here on Sports by the Book. Dwayne, it's good to see you. January 8th, how has the new year been treating you so far?
Oh, busy, Alex. Very busy. It's I didn't get a break throughout the whole Christmas, New Year's holiday. So yeah, you have playoffs, you have all the college football going on, hockey is in full swing prior to the Olympics, NBA action, college basketball is 50 games a night. So it's a busy time for a bookmaker in Las Vegas. Never any time to really sleep.
It really is busy. I know Chris Andrews, too, has not been having his normal off days here at the South Point. And you brought it up, college basketball, right? I mean, there's so many games to handicap, and you guys have to put them all out. And so a lot on your plate. But we move forward here. We'll wait for Chris to really dive into some football. But you know your hockey, one of the best at it. We've got 12 games tonight, and then, of course, just 3 tomorrow. But anything jump out to you on the board tonight?
Well, keep in mind, Alex, what we're watching with the NHL now is a lot of teams that are having reversal of fortune. A lot of people thought Chicago would just be horrible without Bedard. They're playing at a good level. I think they're like 1 or 2 points out of a playoff spot now. Whereas teams like Anaheim, who started really, really hot, the Vegas Golden Knights, they've totally leveled out and not playing at a playoff level, in my opinion. So the NHL landscape, it's very tough. Night in, night out, you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to goalie rotations, possible injuries. So it becomes very difficult to handicap some of these games. Tonight, I was looking again. Last night we all had Montreal. I thought that was a tremendous spot against Calgary. The kid, Jacob Fowler, he played. So now tonight you get Samuel Montembeault against a team that you pretty much own. The Florida Panthers, which it's unbelievable how well Montreal matches up against them. It was about a week ago where they beat them in Florida, a huge comeback. And, the price is right. I definitely think there is some value on Montreal tonight because the roster is just so young. And if you watch the game last night, they really didn't exert themselves. I mean, they had the game in control. And that's why you're seeing the defending Stanley Cup champions, a very slight favorite here in the Bell Center. So if Samuel Montembeault, he started to play better. It seems like he's overcome the injury jitters and all that, parity that was in the offseason, coming in injured or what have you. I think that Montreal definitely has a tremendous chance. Now we go to another team that has totally reversed their fortune. Alex, the New Jersey Devils are just horrible at this point. They're just not playing well. There's no cohesion there. You may even see a coaching maneuver. It's unheard of in the NHL, really. During the regular season, you really have to be playing horrible to have a midseason change. But the New Jersey Devils are playing horrible. I mean, the Islanders were one of my top picks the other night. They put up a 9 spot against the Devils. You have Hughes back. It's just so difficult that the Hughes brothers can't get going and carry this team. They have such a phenomenally talented roster. And now you see that they're all the way down in the playoff race and they're going to have to claw their way back into it. But I don't think tonight is the right spot. I mean, Stuart Skinner is going to be between the pipes. Pittsburgh is still playing at a playoff level. You could see right on the graphic for those that are watching that Pittsburgh is in playoff contention. So the Devils really have to rectify a lot in that locker room and in that clubhouse. And I'm not sure they could do it on a quick turnaround after they just received such a thrashing against the New York Islanders. Another game tonight, the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, they're not playing well. Let's put it that way. They were life and death to beat a team that lost 10 in a row. Winnipeg is just one of the worst teams right now in the Western Conference. And now you're going to have to, try and lay 160, maybe 165. You know how these Golden Knights fans are. They're going to press at the Fortress. And Columbus is a very serviceable team that could definitely play a physical style of hockey. So you saw Ryan Reeves found that out the other night. So I think Columbus definitely has a chance at a big plus here. I'm not sold that Carter Hart is completely into game form. I mean, this kid sat out for 2 years. Let's not put the world, a world of pressure on him. And the Vegas Golden Knights got Jack Eichel back, and they still haven't really turned that corner to where they're playing at an exceptional Golden Knight type of level. They're still the favorite to win the division, but, that's only because teams like Anaheim have fallen apart, basically. Edmonton is not where they want to be. So let's keep your eye on this Golden Knight team. There's going to be some value playing against them crawling into the Olympic break. And we don't even know if the NHL players, Alex, are going to be playing in the Olympics. They can't get these ice conditions rectified. So that's going to be interesting as well, because the Vegas Golden Knights have about 5 or 6 players that are representing the Golden Knights in the Olympics. And, they may need that little rest if there is no NHL players in the Olympics. So let's keep an eye on the Golden Knights. They're our favorite team, here in Vegas. We love to see them win, but this is a tough spell now. And, I don't know what's going on with Aiden Hill. It would be nice to get him back in a healthy capacity between the pipes, because that could rectify the goaltender position.
No, I agree. And put a little pressure there on Carter Hart. I do like what I saw from them in the third period against the Jets and overtime, but it's going to be tough here to make it 2 in a row, but we'll see if they can get it done. Another team in the Western Conference, Dwayne, that has really fallen off, the Vancouver Canucks. They are now second to last, right in front of the Jets. And I don't know about you, but I mean, Detroit Red Wings minus 150 at home feels like a pretty good price there, but are you willing to lay that with Detroit?
Well, you better get down quick, Alex, because it's going to go up, definitely. The Canucks are just horrible right now. 16-21 on the season. I mean, they lost their first 3 games here in January. Just can't seem to get out of their way. And Detroit continues to play at an exceptional level. This is another young team like the Montreal Canadiens that, they were in a rebuilding phase. But now when you start to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, this is a very solid team. And this is going to be very difficult for the Canucks to play on the road. So, Alex, if you're backing them, I definitely have a seal of approval there. I can't bet Vancouver under the current conditions until they get, hot. And, you saw the trade earlier in the year, traded away one of their key assets. They may be also looking to rebuild, but they have somewhat of a young roster. So it's confusing what's going on in Vancouver, in Winnipeg, in Edmonton. Yeah. It's amazing how these Canadian cities, other than Montreal, are moving backwards. Even Toronto, Ottawa, they got crushed last night. They were never in the game. And now you got to go to Colorado tonight. So I don't know. These Canadian teams are having a very rough go of it, other than the Montreal Canadiens. And we'll see how that plays out. Some of these teams got to turn the corner and eventually start to thrive with their young players. I mean, Winnipeg is playing 10 in a row losses with Hellebuck between the pipes, and he's the best goaltender perceived in the world. So very strange. Like I said, keep your eye on this hockey landscape. And you saw the Canadians thrash the Flames, too, last night. So everybody's going backwards from Canada, in my opinion, other than my Canadians.
We are seeing a little bit of shift here where the best goaltenders aren't necessarily the best goaltenders that we're used to right now. Jordan Binnington taking a step back. Connor Hellebuck definitely. So we'll see a lot of young guys stepping up now.
Let me tell you, Alex, Binnington looked like the greatest goaltender in the world against Montreal the other night. And then last night, it was like ridiculous. And they were actually trying to pull him, and he wouldn't get off the ice because Hoffa was in the back, hiding. He didn't want to get hit in the head with a puck. So, it's really funny. Like you said, the only one who is remaining consistent, and they're horrible too, in my opinion, is Igor Shesterkin, because he doesn't have that surrounding crew, and he plays in New York, but he's still playing at a good level.
Yes, he definitely is. I'll say the two. Well, actually, there's 4 really that stand out to me right now, and it's the duo in Colorado. I mean, Scott Wedgwood has been amazing. And then the 2 in Minnesota have been really good. So we'll see. That definitely helps them in the Western Conference. But, Dwayne, let's take a quick break, and then we'll bring in Chris Andrews, and let's talk some football because we got the Fiesta Bowl tonight and the Wild Card Weekend coming up this weekend. Don't go anywhere. For those of you watching live, we'll be right back.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza. If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone.
And we are back here on Sports by the Book, live from the South Point Hotel and Casino. Joining me at the desk, sports director here at the South Point, Chris Andrews. Follow him on Twitter at Andrews Sports. He does respond if you do have any questions for him. And then follow Dwayne Colucci up at the Rampart at NYBookie. Dwayne, happy to have both of you. Let's start with the big news this morning. Chris, I'll start with you first. Miami Dolphins fire Mike McDaniel. Kind of interesting timing, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, considering John Harbaugh is suddenly available, I think that may have pushed that button a little bit. But in all honesty, he really hasn't shown a lot of improvement with that Miami team. I think we can all agree Tua has kind of gone backwards, certainly this last year. And, a lot of that's on the head coach. But, I mean, I'm sure he would say, well, yeah, you guys gave me Tua. I didn't ask for him. But that's the reality of it. It's very much a bottom line business. And, I think Ross, the owner down there, he's made a lot of mistakes over the years. And, I don't know if John Harbaugh wants to go there because I think John's going to have his choice of a lot of jobs, But, there's certainly some big pluses. The living in Miami, number one. And, you get to play the Jets twice a year. So that's 2 wins right there. The rest of the division might not be so easy. But, I could see where he would go there, but we'll see what happens.
Dwayne, what are your thoughts on this news that came out today?
Well, I agree with Chris. He hit the nail on the head. I think it was a long time coming. And, I just don't understand how he lasted this long. Tua took a step back. You had Hill was clapping when he broke his leg in like 6 places because he was happy to get off the field. And that's a serious rebuild there, possibly. You don't know what direction the quarterback position is going to go in. And, Harbaugh with the experience would be a very nice fit. But there's a lot of good coaches that are going to be available, especially after this first round of the playoffs. So we're going to see what Miami does. Like Chris said, you get to play the Jets. They're not, that great. So you get to play them twice. New England definitely was a surprise team, but usually after these teams peak out, there is a somewhat of a step back. So we'll see how it is. Great pluses with the weather and all that and the home field, but very interesting that it took this long.
It will be fascinating to see where John Harbaugh does end up. 8 openings right now for head coaching positions, and he's definitely at the top of the list, but there are some others, as Dwayne mentioned, too.
So I think if you're a coach like Harbaugh, who's a proven commodity, the guy was there 18 years, you want to take a team that's near the bottom. You don't want to step in. Looking like college, Kalen DeBoer stepping into Alabama.
Right.
That's tough. I don't know if, let's say Andy Reid retires, take that job. It's going to be hard to duplicate what Andy Reid's done. It really is. You're better off with one of these terrible teams, not a terrible organization, but a terrible team. So you could take them to the top and say, geez, look what I've done. Whereas whoever's going to place Andy, I don't know if Andy's retiring, but he will certainly someday. But whoever replaces him, you're going to say, well, you're probably not going to be as good as Andy Reid, and you're going to constantly be compared to that.
Well, and maybe expectations aren't as high where the New York Giants, even though they aren't that good, they do have a lot of pieces in place, and the expectations are going to be high to get better very quickly, right? For any coach.
Yes, but I can't believe they kept that general manager. It's beyond me. I'd like to hear, Dwayne, New York bookie Dwayne. I'd love to hear what he has to say about the Giants, because I think there is a lot of really good things in place with the Giants, but I can't believe they kept the general manager.
Yeah, Chris is right. I mean, that was definitely a question mark there. And there are a lot of good things in place, but let's keep in mind there's a lot of injuries. I mean, Neighbors and Scadaboo are huge. They have to come back healthy so that you have the three-prong attack with Jackson Dart, and you have good edge rushers. So that's a very appealing job. Another appealing job is Atlanta. I mean, that's a very nice job. That the head coach down there was just horrible, and this team was on the cusp of making the playoffs. Penix went down early. You have a lot of tools there. So there are a lot of appealing jobs, but the New York Giants, working with that general manager, it's going to be so difficult. I can't believe they kept him. And you saw his flaws on Hard Knocks, and how that basically that front office and coaching, and it was just in disarray. You had to cut the whole head off, and they just chose to pick on Dable, who was actually good his first year and a half or so. So, I understand what Chris means. It's definitely the GM makes that coaching job less appealing.
See, that's the one thing, though. A guy like Harbaugh might be able to come in and say, I have more say than Dable. You got to put that in the contract. Listen, I'm not in the front office. I don't know how all this coaching stuff works. But if Harbaugh has a bigger say, then he can maybe overrule the general manager. And I think, Harbaugh was very lucky in one way. It was with a very good organization, so he didn't have to do that. But, a coach like, let's say, Mike Tomlin or Harbaugh, probably Andy Reid, and at this point, maybe Vrabel's kind of getting there. They got to have a lot of say, more than just, coach the team on Sunday, So, we'll see how that would work. But I could see if Harbaugh was granted the authority that he would like, I could see him fitting very well in New York.
If I'm not mistaken, Liam Cohen went in last year and they got rid of the GM that was there at the time, right? And he had some say in who the GM was. So maybe that is another thing that he could negotiate, or whoever they're looking at could. So we'll see. It's very interesting.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
And we'll find out soon. But looking forward to this weekend, where we do have 6 wild card games in the National Football League. But let's start off with college football tonight, Dwayne. Miami, Florida, Ole Miss. 2 big upsets here. The Rebels take down the Georgia Bulldogs, and Miami, Florida takes down the Ohio State Buckeyes. So here we are with this matchup. Looks like it's been a toggler here from 3 and 3.5.
Yeah, now we're sitting at 3. Chris has got it at 3 at the South Point and the resort at Summerlin here. So, it's a tough game. Everybody's still playing the Lane Kiffin card, I guess, but that means nothing at this point. Ole Miss is playing fabulous. Miami has a great defense. It's going to be interesting to see if in the limelight that could really move this team down the field and control the game. So, we're getting great two-way action. Chris will tell you that. Ticket count is slightly in favor of Miami, but that's, mostly the parlays and teasers that these people are enamored with that huge victory last week. So we'll see how it plays out. These are 2 tough games to handicap, in my opinion. This is a layoff spot for me. I was all over Kirby Smart, and he got totally outcoached in that last game. I thought Georgia was the right side, but they apparently were not. And this is an SEC battle-tested team, Ole Miss. So great matchup here. And I could understand the public scratching their heads. So we got some great props up. Chris did a fabulous job with the prop menu. I really don't have an opinion on this game, guys. I'm definitely scratching my head. I'll wait for the second game.
Well, first of all, I want to tell you, the props, I give that to my crew. That was Alexis and Tara this morning, so they did that. But I do want to point out we have the parlay cards. And, it's one of those things. So, like, we have the ties win card. Okay. And first of all, we have the half-point card. Miami's 3.5, Indiana's 3.5. And that's just what the numbers are, essentially, although there is some 3 out there on Miami. So those are the cards, and they pay a little better than the ties win. The ties win. When you're looking at that, when I'm making the card, you have to look. Like, let's say the Miami game. You almost had to use 3. Well, ties win. that means you're laying 2.5 if you're betting Miami, right? Okay, and then I look at the Indiana-Oregon game. I had to decide which way to go there, 3 or 4. So I put it on 4. So if you like Oregon, you're getting 4.5. Now, those two numbers I just mentioned do not exist anywhere except for on this card. So now, of course, it's parlays, a little tougher to win, but of course the payouts reflect that. We get some pretty decent payouts, and you can go up and down the line. I'm looking at the ties win. Panthers, you take 11. So that's essentially 11.5. The Chargers, you take 4. It's essentially 4.5. Steelers, you could take 3. That's 3.5. There's not much 3.5 in the market right now, Dwayne. Right? I mean,
No.
Listen.
Yeah.
I'm going to hate to root for the Texans when they kick off. Matter of fact, I probably won't do it. but the money's coming in on the Steelers. But you could take 3.5, or you could lay 2.5. Which that number also doesn't exist. So that's kind of what we got with these ties win cards. And,
toughest game in America, Chris. You got the toughest job in America.
It's a tough racket. We know
it is.
It's a tough way to make an easy living. It's a lot of decisions go into it. But, that's what we're here for is, all year we never put any half points on that ties win card. And I had in the past, but then I figured, the hell with it. Let's just put all whole points on and we'll let the chips fall where they may.
I'm glad you bring it up because, part of this show, we do want to educate people, and I just don't make a parlay, right? Use the parlay cards if you are going to do that because you do have an advantage. It definitely helps rather than just going on your app and tying all these together.
Right. Well, it's all in the payout, and it's all in the, this is what this whole racket is about. So if you can gain an advantage, and sometimes you're taking a little bit less of a payout, but you're getting a better number.
Right.
And I will tell you this, and Dwayne will vouch for it on this. We get more wise guy play on the ties win card because they're looking for that. They're looking for that number, and they figure if they win, let's say on the ties win card, you're playing a 6-teamer. You get paid 25 to 1. You're on the half point card, you get 35 to 1. For them, they figure, oh, what the hell? I'm getting 25 to 1. That ain't bad.
Yeah.
At least I get some extra points going in my favor. So it's all part of the strategy, both as a bookmaker and as a player. But, we listen, we do a lot of business on these cards, and I'm not sure how many people in town put out the cards this week. Dwayne, I don't know if you would know that or not.
Yeah.
Not too many.
No, and not with the lines that we are supplying at both the South Point and the resort at Summerlin Rampart. It's just, this is how it is. We're trying to give the consumer what they perceive as an edge. And, like Chris said, you're going to get all the sharp action, even though it's only 25 to 1. And I say only 25 to 1.
I'll take that. 6
games. Yeah, I'll take that all day. And especially with the line straddles that we have at the Rampart and the South Point. So Chris does a fabulous job. We're trying and, garner that handle from the market where a lot of these other books won't even, dabble in that.
And we got the teaser cards and the reverse teaser card as well.
Which is huge. That's huge.
So we got the home menu.
Yeah.
That one's a little bit too difficult for me to try to
but look at the payouts on that, though.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and again, it's all reflected in the odds and what have you.
Ryan is very determined to hit one of these, though.
Yeah,
2,000 to 1, 7 for 7.
Well, 7's a little steep,
Yeah.
But, stick to maybe a 3 or 4 teamer.
Yeah.
I do want, since we're talking about tonight's game, and this isn't really like, usually you look at like a correlated parlay, like, a big number, let's say 7 or more. Favorite and over, dog and under. Favorite, and that's like kind of everybody sort of knows that. But I see another correlated parlay tonight. I think if it's Miami, it's going to be Miami and under.
Correct.
And I think if it's Mississippi, it's Mississippi and over. Now, trust me, I could easily be wrong. Mississippi could win this game 23-20, right? So it's Mississippi and under. But I think you have a little advantage, a very slight advantage, just judging the pace of the game and the style, the way that these teams want to play. I think it would be. It wouldn't be the worst parlay in the world to bet Mississippi and over or Miami and under. That
was actually my next question for you because, of course, Ole Miss, the 20th quickest in seconds per play. Miami, the 5th slowest.
Yeah.
Went up against the slowest team in the country last week in Ohio State. Very methodical. and they beat them at their own game, right? And you could see that out-physicaled them. They're running the ball really well with Fletcher, but I completely agree. Miami wants to control the clock, keep Ole Miss's offense off the field, so we'll see how that plays out. But I do think that there's a correlation there.
And like I said, it's not a great, again, you're getting 13-5 on a 2-teamer. But I think probably the odds are a little bit less than that. So, I think you have a little bit of an advantage doing it. I'll tell you what's going to be important, first score. Who scores first? Because if Miami scores first, you could see them putting that ball in the icebox. Whereas if Mississippi scores first, that changes the whole nature of the game.
It's a tempo dictated game. Chris is 100% right. The first score will be so important. And, just like you said, Alex, great points there. Mississippi is one of those teams, hike the ball, get it down the field, whereas Miami is methodical and they want to control the game. So it's going to be, definitely who establishes that they have the dominance. That's the way the total will go. And I think the correlation is right there, just like you guys said.
Strength on strength. Cannot wait, because we've really seen Ole Miss's offense. They've been good all year long since going to Trinidad Chambliss, but now we've really seen it and kind of put on the Superman cape last week in that second half against Georgia. And then on the other side, Miami, that defense looks really good. Looks like one of the best in the country. So we'll see how it all plays out.
The other thing about Trinity Chambliss, I didn't know much about them. Well, I don't think anybody did until halfway through the season. But, and I don't want to pretend like I'm any kind of NFL scout, but I've always said the one thing that's really hard to judge a college quarterback, one of the pros, is, processing and accuracy. The arm's important, of course. But this kid processes quickly, and he's accurate. Now, I don't know where he is on the we're looking at Moore and Mendoza, probably being one, but I don't know. He seems kind of maybe small a little bit, but he does process and he's accurate. I don't know. That's hard to tell, because a lot of times these college quarterbacks are running an offense where the guy's just dead open. Okay, and you hit him for it. God bless, that's great. But this kid's hitting guys that are covered, but he's still putting it right where it's supposed to be.
Definitely is. He is trying to get another year.
I hope he does.
I feel like he will.
It'd be fun to watch him.
We kind of just saw it with Diego Pavia. I think he's kind of got the same case there, right? Another year that he's trying to get in Power 4 play in the SEC. So I hope he does as well. Just to put a bow on this one, Dwayne's staying out of it. He's going to watch this. Anything for you in this one? No.
I'm staying out of it too. He's both games. I made... I looked back at my notes. I made Miami 3.5, and I made Indiana 4. It's what I made the numbers. So I'm not going to, half point. That's not going to get my money. But there's plenty of guys out there that are doing it. I'll tell you that. God bless them.
Let the public decide, Chris.
Yes,
Let the public decide.
Kaluch,
that's who we're root for.
Whoever we need, that's what I'll root for.
Truth be told, I was against Miami in the first two matchups. I was on Ole Miss, and then I thought Ohio State would handle business last week, so I don't really want to bet against them again. It's a little bit of a lean to the dog here, but I'll probably try and get involved in game. I thought last week was a great spot. You could tell at halftime, even though I was preaching Kirby Smart, one of the best halftime, you could tell that game was very even, right? And that turnover kind of flipped it, but I had a lot of faith, and you're getting 11.5 at halftime with the Rebels going into that second half.
Is that what it was?
Yes,
Jeez,
it was.
Wow.
So if we could get something like that, and if you're watching the game and you have a feel for it, but I do not have a feel for that total at all, as we were talking about. We'll see who dictates the pace in that one. But
by the way, we've got quite a few props. Dwayne mentioned it. Quite a few props for tonight and tomorrow's games.
Well, I love it, and I love the alternate props there, because if you do think Ole Miss is going to win this and you want to take a shot at them winning by 3.5, you're getting a good plus price there, which that 3.5 makes it a little tricky, but they could win by a touchdown. Or if you think Miami, their defense really stands up and they can win by 10, you're getting a good plus price. So we have that on our poll question. Want to hear from all of our regulars who do watch us live. Let's go over to the Peach Bowl, and we'll talk about it more tomorrow with Vinny. But here we are, Indiana, the 1 seed, 3.5-point favorite over the 5 seed in Oregon. Great spot for them to be in. Total 48.5. Dwayne, I think you kind of hinted at that you might have an opinion in this one.
Well, it's a tough game, Alex. I'll be honest with you, but I'm leaning to Oregon. Not the payback factor, but just the way they've played down the stretch has been so impressive. And not that Indiana hasn't. I mean, Indiana has done everything correct. Beating Ohio State, that was definitely a message. And, just the dominance of their last performance, it's definitely shows how strong that this Indiana team is. And, this is a college basketball, synonymous college, not football. And to put this team on the map, it's just such an incredible achievement for Indiana. And that's why you're seeing them as a 3.5 point favorite now at the Rampart to South Point. I mean, this is a tough game. They beat them earlier in the season by 10 points. You have to go back many weeks. And I think this is a more improved Oregon team. But, I like Oregon, but I'm not going to go crazy. This is not a pick that, Dwayne with a stamp of approval. It's kind of just how I feel the flow of the game will go. And Indiana's been just so perfect that I think there's a little room for a stutter step here. And maybe Oregon could get the ball moving down the field. But difficult team to stop. I'm looking at the ticket count. It's in favor of Indiana. The money's in favor of Indiana, and rightfully so. Now the public is fully bought into this team. Tough matchup, but I like Oregon. I'll take the 3.5 here. I don't like it at 3, but I'll take it at 3.5 or 4 without a doubt.
Yeah.
I have, like I said, I made the number 4. Yeah, so I really have no opinion. But Dwayne, I got to laugh. I always tease Vinny. I'm looking at Signetti. He's an angry Italian from Pittsburgh. I said, any of those guys I grew up with? Like my whole neighborhood was like that. Probably yours, but from New York. Too. Yeah, I would imagine.
There's a lot in New York, trust me, definitely.
So,
he's amazing.
He's done a fantastic job. I certainly have nothing against Oregon. As a matter of fact, took my one daughter. She was trying to decide where to go to school. Took her to the Oregon campus. Great campus. She chose to go to Nevada, which saved me a couple bucks. Okay. But Oregon is fine. There's no problem with that. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to root for whoever we need. Probably in my heart of hearts, I'm rooting for Signetti a little bit because he is a Pittsburgh guy. And like I said, I know a million guys like him. So it's hard not to root for him. But, Oregon's been on the doorstep really for 20 years, maybe even more, and I think maybe the universe owes them one. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I heard a comparison to James Franklin for last year's playoff where they had won 2 games, but then fell short in the big game. And Dan Lanning's kind of in that same spot. Yeah. He needs a big game like this. I don't think Oregon's going to part ways with him, but it's kind of the same thing, right? People just forget those first 2, and Oregon has been great. And people talked about James Madison letting them hang around, but then a shutout against Texas Tech last week, right? So
he's a hell of a coach. I don't know what people are talking about. Rooting for him too a little bit here, and I kind of lean with Dwayne. I like the 4 on this parlay card, really getting 4.5 here. So I'll probably use that and tie it together with a few other things. I heard another crazy thing about Indiana, though. Did you know that they are 118th in the country in pass attempts? So they average just 25 per game, but they're also leading the country in passing touchdowns. That's how efficient they are. That is amazing. Well, I'll tell you what, that's Signetti's thing is, we're very efficient. They don't commit penalties. They don't make stupid plays. And I heard his coaching philosophy about how he's worked on his guys. Every play is its own life. So it doesn't matter if you're down 20, up 20. Doesn't matter if, you're playing for a national championship or a Big Ten championship. Every play is its own thing. And, if you can get people to understand that, and it looks like Signetti has, then I think that's an advantage. I tell you what, and when we had Bear on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I asked Bear, is there another Signetti out there? And he didn't think so, and I mean, I kind of agree with him. I mean, this guy's, lightning in a bottle, 1 in a million, pick whatever cliche you want. I mean, but, he's a very rare bird.
He'll get a lot of calls this week after the championship game if they make it from the NFL even. In my opinion, the combination, if he could draft his quarterback as well, would just be, tremendous. A lot of talk, maybe the Raiders are going that way. But, he is just an amazing coach. And like Chris said, every play has its own life. I did hear him describe that. And his efficiency and his relationship with his starting quarterback is why they have that many touchdowns on such a little small sample size, basically, of attempts. But Oregon, like you said, Alex, that shutout looms large. So better be ultra efficient going into this game.
Yeah, and that revenge factor, I do think that they learned a lot. And I mean, some of the players even said they did take them a little lightly, right? They were feeling good. They just beat Penn State coming off a bye week. And so now they get a chance there at redemption. I also do like the under in this game. I think I like under first half more. It's 23.5. Tricky number there. First time they met up, though, it was 13-10. So,
Oh, really? Right there, yeah.
I think Oregon's defense has definitely improved since that first one. So, and remember in that first matchup, fourth quarter, 3 interceptions. So, might be trying not to make that first mistake for both sides.
Yeah, one was just a tip ball. I mean, that's hard to put on the quarterback. But, I heard Peyton Manning one time said, listen, that ball leaves your hand, it's like cashing a check. It's your name that's on it, and I think Peyton had a little bit of success too. So,
of course,
Just a bit.
you guys do still have CFP Exactas out, and you've got updated numbers here. So just for anybody, we kind of talked about it throughout the week, but if you do like Oregon to get the upset and you're leaning one way or the other with Miami or Ole Miss, you might get a better number there for them to win it all. These two are a little bit ahead of the other. I don't know. Shouldn't say that. Miami's got the talent.
I kind of wish
Final
this
four.
game was the final. Oregon, Indiana. I kind of wish that, but that's just the way the bracket works. But yeah, we have the exacta. Obviously we have to win. Pick the winner.
Right.
So we got those 4 teams. Got the exacta. We got the same thing with the NFL. We got the exacta up in the NFL, and we're doing some pretty good business on that.
Let me start right there before we shift over, because we've got 2 NFL on Saturday, 3 Sunday, 1 on Monday. But I want to ask you about these exact outcomes, because 2 of these teams, as everybody knows, are not playing this weekend.
Right.
So if you like one of those 1 seeds to make it far, it would be a good idea to put a little bit on them now, right? Because regardless, those numbers are going to change next week.
Oh, you bet.
Without them even playing.
Yeah, right.
Because it's going to narrow down, and 6 teams are out. We're down to 8.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like the Seahawks or the Broncos, maybe taking a little bit of an exacta now.
I have pretty good prices on both of those. I think I got, and we just kind of went through this morning, Dwayne. Maybe you have them in front of you, but I think I got 7-1. This is to win that Super Bowl. 7-1 on Denver. Pretty good price. I think 350 or 360 plus 360 on Seattle, something like that.
375.
375. Yeah. So I mean, that's one of the best prices in the market right now. So we're looking for a bet.
Yes.
We got, we got some. I just want to kind of get evened out. I like going into that Super Bowl with a certain amount of money in my pocket. No matter what happens, and as long as it's not the Steelers or the Niners at this point, I'm in decent shape. But little better with some, little worse with others.
Steelers, huh?
I know. I mean, again, if they kick off, can you imagine me not rooting for the Steelers? I mean, come on.
For the Super Bowl, too. Well, speaking of the Niners, Chris, a couple weeks ago, you said you thought they could make a little run. Now
I did, yeah.
Now with this first matchup against the Eagles, it's a little bit tougher to see that.
Boy, there's, Alex, we talked earlier in the week. You can make arguments for and against every team in this, in the run here, in the playoff run. There's a lot of positive for the Eagles, but there's a lot of negatives too. They got shut out last week in the second half, and Hurts has been a little bit inconsistent. The running game has been tremendously inconsistent. But the Niners talked about that vaunted offense, and they put up 3 last week. So I mean, there's there's arguments.
A lot of injuries,
tons of injuries. So I mean, you can make points either way. I got to tell you, Dwayne, I looked at the pro menu. I didn't make one bet. I don't like one side there either. I pretty much made. I like Carolina a little bit. I have to say, I think that number's a little too high. But other than Carolina, I think there's some value there. Other than that, I really don't like anything.
Well, let's start right there, because that is the first game on Saturday, 1:30 Pacific time, and the public, it seems like, likes the Rams here. They're up to 10.5 on the road against the Panthers, Dwayne. Total 46.5. I think we're all in agreement. Too many points here, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of points for a team that they lost to earlier in the season. And, it's the same scenario. You're in Carolina, you're not in Los Angeles. So keep that in mind. Rams, though, they could put up points in a hurry. You saw that at the end of the game last week. It looked like Chris and I were counting the money with Arizona. And then all of a sudden, Puka Nacua goes crazy. And they just have that high octane offense that could definitely put points up in bunches. You're getting Adams back now this week. I still like Carolina. I think they could keep it within double digits. And, definitely Young has been much improved this year. And the team itself is much improved. So keep your eye on that. I think Carolina could definitely hang in this game, but it wouldn't shock me if the Rams started playing track meet.
Yeah, I'd kind of with him on that. I think Young, who a guy I've never really been that high on, certainly not as a pro. I liked him in college, of course. But I thought that he has gotten better and better over the course of the year. There's no doubt. And I think it's a pretty decent home team with going to have a decent home crowd here. And I 10.5. I mean, that's a mountain to climb. And by the way, they did, now not so much with us because we've been at 10 and then 10.5. But I saw 11 and 11.5 in the market earlier this week. And it's gone back to 10.5. So the wise guys did see value in anything over 10.5, and
Okay.
I think if we do get to 11, I think we'll get some plungers come in. Some of the sharp money will come in plus the 11, but I'm hoping not to get there. I wouldn't mind needing Carolina in this game.
Let's go to the next one on Saturday, and this is a very good game. Third time we're seeing this matchup, Dwayne, between the Packers and the Bears. Kind of been all over the place, but right now the Packers are a 1-point favorite on the road in Chicago.
Yeah, and this is a tough one. I mean, Chicago's limping in basically, but you know how I feel about the Packers. I mean, Matt LaFleur is still the head coach, and this guy will find a way to lose. What he was doing last week, that was the best, the field goal. I mean, I don't even want to address that, but it seems like once Parsons went down and you get some of those injuries, the Packers come right back down to earth. And, I'm not so sure not starting or using the starters at all was the right formula because, I'm not so sold that Love could come right in off of basically a bye week and start moving the ball down the field. But that is the Bears' weakness. The Bears' defense is, and it's crazy that we're saying that, but the Bears' defense is not very good. Caleb had a fabulous season up until like the last 3 weeks. It started to come back down to earth. Tough handicap game. I kind of like the Bears. I love taking points at home, but it really isn't that much. So very difficult to see if the Packers defense could shut down the Bears and then play ball control. Then they could win the game. Whereas if Caleb starts to excel, starts to get the ball to his wide receivers, it's going to be a long day for Green Bay. So kind of like the Bears, but this is a tough divisional matchup. Like you said, Alex, we're getting to see it for the third time. Let's see how it plays out on the field. I think Robinson is a much better coach than LaFleur. So I like the Bears in this situation.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Dwayne. I like the Bears. I thought, again, not a huge opinion, but I made the number Bears 1. We talk about injuries for the Bears. Well, there are a lot of injuries for the Packers, too. And they lost 2 of their key guys, Micah, of course, and they lost Kraft, weeks ago. But I think they're really missing him. And LaFleur, I'm not quite as anti-LaFleur as Dwayne is. If you go back, about 4 or 5 years ago when he had Rodgers, Rodgers' last game? I can't remember the exact scenario, but even when Rodgers hosted Jeopardy, some guy asked him about it. He says, I don't know what that was. So, so there's some questionable decisions on LaFleur. I think he's I think he'd be a terrific assistant coach. I'm not sure he's the best, head coach. Whereas, with the Bears, it's the guy was a great offensive coordinator, and it looks like he's going to be a great head coach as well. But I kind of like the Bears a little bit in this spot. I just think that this is a team that mostly got better during the course of the year, and I think you look at the last couple of weeks, I think the Packers kind of went backwards. So I like the Bears in this spot. And not enough for me to bet, but I do like them.
Is this your paper tiger team? Packers?
I've been saying that all year. I've been saying that all year. This team's a paper tiger, and Ryan asked me, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "Because it's a phony. It's a phony.
Right?
Looks
fugazi.
Fugazi. Looks impressive until they actually get out on the field."
I think they could get this first one though. I got to push back on you two a little bit because, I mean, handled business in the first matchup at Lambeau, but then the last game, I mean, they were up. They really let that one slip away. Jordan Love did get hurt, and time of possession, 38-50 to 26-13 for the Packers. So if they can do that again, I think Dwayne mentioned that
And
with the
still
ball
lose,
control.
though. Remember that, Alex.
still lose.
That's the Matt LaFleur in you, because he always keeps that door open. And it's similar to Sirianni, like Chris said earlier. When you're talking about the Eagles, there was some bad games this year where the head coach and the decision-making of not kicking at the right time, not going for it on fourth down or going for it on fourth down, comes back and bites these teams. And those are the two teams that, in my head, Green Bay and Philadelphia, that are somewhat suspect on the head coaching and the coaching staff, as well as the players.
Boy, he's going against his countryman, Sirianni, and an Italian,
Hey, this guy, I'll tell you.
You got to call a spade, my man.
Right. It's it.
But again, I'm not like going nuts over the Bears, but I thought they should be a very slight favorite in this game.
Let's go to another game that's pretty much a pick-em, and probably one of the best games of the weekend. Buffalo Bills, Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are the hottest team in the league. The Bills have high expectations now going into the playoffs to come out of the AFC. You have an opinion in this one, Chris?
I made this number pick 'em, as a dead pick. I could make a case for and against both teams in this one, too. I don't know. I think this is Josh Allen's chance to win it. But, boy, Trevor Lawrence, all of a sudden, I didn't really know much about Liam Cohen going into this year. But, I mean, he knew how to press the right buttons on Trevor Lawrence. He's finally playing the way that a lot of people thought he would coming out of college. And, to me, they look like they're maybe a slightly more complete team.
Yeah.
But it's still Buffalo. And, it's hard to put all your chips in against Buffalo. So I thought it was just a dead pick 'em.
I agree with Chris. I love Jacksonville against anybody in this playoff scenario except Buffalo. This is the toughest matchup. Jacksonville, look at the schedule. Look at who they beat. I mean, it's incredible. They beat San Francisco. They beat Denver. They beat Houston. They beat the Chiefs when they were still somewhat healthy. They've had a great, great season. So don't sell this Jacksonville team short. But I think Allen has the right formula. So I'm going to lay off this game. Buffalo, the coaching. He's another guy who's definitely going to be under the microscope if they ever lose this first round, and could possibly lose his job with the talent level that Allen has and the running game. So this is a layoff for me. Jacksonville, it's favorable that they're playing in their own home conditions as opposed to going to freezing cold Buffalo up north. So that's definitely going to play to the Jacksonville's hand. But very tough game. I have to lay off this game. Chris has the right line.
Keep an eye on this game. Whoever wins this one might have a nice path to go all the way for the AFC, because I agree with both of you. And complete team is right. That is what we have seen from these Jags. So we'll see how this plays out. But it is funny seeing those OCs move spots and then that team kind of fall apart. We saw with Ben Johnson and the Lions. Tampa Bay, brutal year offensively. And Liam Cohen has Trevor Lawrence and them playing very good. All right, it looks like the Eagles are 5 in a lot of spots, still 4.5 here. Dwayne, you give San Francisco any shot in this one, or are you kind of waiting for the injury report? Because I know we're all waiting to see if Trent Williams is going to play for the Niners.
Yeah, that's huge. I like the Eagles in this situation, whether he plays or not. The 49ers didn't look good at all last week. 23 yards for McCaffrey. They're desperately missing Ayuk. He's the long threat and the deep ball guy, and he hasn't been there all season. They slid in under the radar. They played really well down the stretch, like Chris said, up until last week, and now you got to go into Philadelphia. Saquon's going to be really hungry. If Hurts and Brown are on the same page and the rest of the wide receivers, it's going to be a long day for San Francisco. But, we've seen the Eagles keep a lot of teams in games this year, so that point spread definitely comes into factor. And I think that maybe Philly could win the game by even 3. So I'm not going to bet the game, but I know the Eagles are going to win this matchup.
I don't have any opinion here. This is another game. I made the number 4, so I don't have a strong opinion. Like I said, I can make cases for both sides. Just, we're talking about last week, to me, I kind of threw out that Niner game. when I was looking at my evaluations. That was, I don't know. I don't know why, but sometimes a team is never as good as they looked last week or never as bad as they looked last week. And I think the Niners looked pretty bad last week. So I'm just kind of throwing that out. But I think we've seen some flaws in Philadelphia over the course of the year. And, Dwayne mentioned Sirianni. I think, listen, you got a Super Bowl ring, you got a trophy back in the trophy case. So there's a lot to be said for him, but I think there's a few things to be said against him too. Now, you can look back at this Philadelphia organization. It's one of the top organizations, top to bottom in the NFL. But I could say the same thing about San Francisco.
Yep.
I mean, look how this team has stayed together with their two best defenders going out. I mean, Bosa, did he take a snap in the regular season? I don't think he did. And Warner, he was out maybe like after 2 games, something like that. So they kept this team together. I think they've done a hell of a job coaching, general manager, again, owner, the whole thing. So I think it's a really interesting matchup. And I have no opinion. It looks like I'm going to probably be rooting for the Niners come kickoff. And hey, whatever happens, happens.
It'll be interesting.
And if Hurts gets happy feet, keep your eye on that early in the game for your in-game wages. Because if Jalen Hurts gets happy feet, Frisco will be in the game because he tries to do too much, in my opinion, and Sirianni doesn't control that aspect of the offense.
And I think the Williams injury or non-injury, let's see what happens, is going to be huge.
I do too.
Yes.
This isn't the NBA or NHL. You can't just flip that switch. So a lot of people are hoping the Eagles can do that, but we really haven't seen their offense clicking. I mean, especially against the better teams, haven't even passed 20 points. I went down that the other day, but okay.
Even against Dallas's pitiful defense, they couldn't really score. Yeah.
Very true. 2 more here. We're sitting at 3.5 with the Patriots over the Chargers. I haven't heard a lot of people make the case for Jim Harbaugh's team here in the Chargers traveling. Definitely have the injuries, but got an extra week. They did rest their starters. Either of you want to make the case for Los Angeles here?
I think I made the number 4. So, again, I don't have a strong opinion. I think, listen, I love Mike Vrabel, and I liked him at Ohio State. When the Steelers drafted him, I was elated. I couldn't believe they cut him. And, Dwayne, I don't know if you remember the one Super Bowl. I can't remember which one it was. But back in the early 2000s, they gave the MVP to Brady. Okay. Right. Vrabel deserved the MVP. He had a sack, caused the fumble, recovered a fumble, had an interception, and caught a touchdown.
Caught a touchdown.
And I'm sitting there thinking, how could they not give the MVP to Vrabel? And they gave it to Brady,
right.
Of course.
Unbelievable.
But
Unbelievable.
I've always loved this guy as a player, as a coach. I mean, Tennessee getting rid of him. I mean, that shows you why some teams just have no clue what the hell's going on. But listen, Jim Harbaugh's kind of a weird guy. He definitely is, but he's also a really good coach. I wouldn't want to put all my money against him. And we've been saying all year, Herbert is like this close to being among the elite quarterbacks, but he's not there yet. But Harbaugh may be able to get it out of him. So I don't know. This is another one. When they kick off, I'll root for whoever we need. And I'm okay with that.
Tough matchup. Definitely, Drake May, unbelievable, 72% completion rate this year, over 4,300 yards passing, just unbelievable. He really drank the Vrabel juice and, took it to another level. Diggs, unbelievable. So this offense is definitely going to be hard to stop. Chargers also have offensive line issues. Keep your eye on Herbert's wrist. I know it's getting better each week. It's not his throwing hand, but still, you lay a couple of good hits on this kid on that cold weather and that hard field. It's going to be very hard out there. You're talking about an 8 o'clock start. Very, very difficult for the Chargers to move on, in my opinion. I think the Patriots are the right side, even though I believe Harbaugh is a much better coach than Vrabel. I kind of disagree with Chris on that aspect, just that, he never improved Tennessee, and that was the problem why they ended up getting rid of him. I think this is a way better scenario for him in New England. Definitely a great player and an above average, a very good coach. Harbaugh's on a genius level, though, in my opinion. And if anybody could beat the Patriots in this situation and could come up with the scheme, it is Jim Harbaugh. So this is a tough game. I kind of think the Patriots are the right side because you have the weather and the home field. But like Chris said, the line is perfect, and it's going to be difficult to see the Patriots winning by more than 3, maybe 3-7.
Last but not least, Monday night, AFC showdown here, Houston Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers, of course, the 4 seed, Texans, the 5 seed. Steelers, they found a way. They got the win over the Baltimore Ravens, get to host a game here. And now, Chris, the 3.5s are gone pretty much everywhere. So looks like as of now, you'll need the Texans?
Well, I made this number 3.5. Even considering my Pittsburgh bias, I try to let the numbers speak for themselves. I made this 3.5, and tell you the truth, I'm a bit surprised. A lot of wise guy money on the Steelers, and I said it many times. I think once we get to the playoffs, defense kind of rules the day, and Houston, I think it's either them or Seattle right now has the best defense, but some of the sharp guys, that I most certainly respect, they're seeing it a different way. Maybe they're thinking veteran quarterback rules the day, and I could see that too. But I made it 3.5. They're betting me the Steelers, and kind of do what we have to do as far as booking this thing right. But I'm not going to have my money on the Steelers. I'll have my heart in the Steelers, but I won't have my money on them.
Dwayne,
well, at least you're getting DK back. You're getting DK back, Chris, and an indoor team going outdoors. So that's another freezing cold scenario. Let's see if CJ can handle it. He was suspect. He was under the microscope going into this year. The defense kind of bailed him out. Nico Collins, fabulous. Playing without Tank, fabulous. Doing a great job. But keep in mind, you go back to that early season where Jacksonville beat them. This team is beatable, and especially in an outdoor scenario like this. And Aaron Rodgers, he definitely is a gamer. He was, elated that they made the playoffs. I mean, granted, there was a lot of luck involved there, but, you got to make those field goals and you got to play it out on the field. Mike Tomlin in the playoffs again, with a veteran quarterback. This is very difficult. Keep in mind the Pittsburgh Monday night record, Chris. Yeah. It's impeccable. It's unbelievable. I know you know what it is. The Steelers have an excellent chance to win this game. And, that's just my opinion. I think they could win this game at home.
From your lips to God's ears, what can I tell you?
As long as we don't have too much money on it.
I'll be honest, I didn't make it quite that high, more 2.5. But then I got Kenny White's numbers, and he actually made the Steelers a 1-point favorite.
Did he really?
I think he's been slow to buy into the Texans more offensively, of course. And we've seen their up and down, but in kind of feast on bad teams, Steelers defense has gotten a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
So I like under for sure. But I think with that being said, and liking the under, I think there's some value with the points.
Okay.
All right, Dwayne, we appreciate you so much. Love our Thursdays catching up with you. You have anything else for Dwayne before we let him go? I know you guys are super busy this weekend.
Yeah, we are. But how about his Montreal Canadiens are all of a sudden one of the hottest teams in the NHL?
Playing very well, Chris. You got that Caulfield, Demidov, Suzuki, a lot of young talent, and the best young defenseman in the league in Lane Hudson.
Well, I hope you're riding them because they have a nice little streak.
Oh, yeah. Dwayne, what about the goalie situation? What do you think they do here with Sam Montembeault and company?
I'll be honest with you. I think they're better off just, I don't know if Dobish will be the guy on the outside looking in, but we have a lot of trade value. You don't want to get rid of Fowler, but, Montembeault, as he gets more and more healthy, you see why he is the number one goaltender. So it's going to be interesting to see if they use him for a wily veteran down the stretch. Patrick Laine is starting to skate now as well. So there's a lot of trade assets that Montreal has. There was even talk of bringing Marshy into Montreal for Laine and a package deal. So I'm keeping my eye on it. I think Montembeault, needed that rest and that break, and he's come out really strong since he's gained some health back. And definitely he is the number one guy, in my opinion, when he's fully healthy, because you don't want to rush the rookie along. If you remember back in the day, Carey Price, they tried to rush along, and actually Yaroslav Halak outplayed him early in their career, because you have such so much pressure in Montreal on a goaltender. You don't want to fluster the kid, but he's played great. You saw it last night. So Montreal has a lot of trade value with these three commodities.
Perfect breakdown. What I was looking for there. Dwayne, before we let you go, any pony picks for today or the weekend? I know you were just with Ralph yesterday, and if anybody who is watching our show that does not watch race day, you can 5 days a week. I'm sorry, Wednesday through Sunday, no Monday or Tuesday. But Dwayne's on there every Wednesday too.
Yeah, my horse scratched yesterday. Let's look at second race at Santa Anita. Number 6, Tyshawn, Richard Baltus, and Victor Espinoza sighting in Southern California. He's been riding with Wesley Ward in Kentucky, and now we're getting a Victor Espinoza sighting with Baltus. They should be able to get the money, dropping from 20 to 16. Number 6 in the second race, Tyshawn.
Number 6. Okay. Thank you so much, Dwayne. Hope you have a great weekend. Anybody who's watching and you're in Vegas, go say hello at the Rampart and follow him on X at NYBookieDwayne. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Definitely. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Alex. Always a pleasure to join the best sports betting show on radio. The best.
We'll see you
Talk
later,
to you
Dwayne.
soon, my friend. Bye-bye.
All right, Chris, we did have a ticker trivia. Do you want to try it out before we take a quick break?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, it is golf.
I'll never get it, but go ahead.
Okay, we probably have a graphic. We'll throw it up here as we go through this. Of course, ticker trivia brought to you by City Light Shine, located in 3 locations, which includes one of those being here at the South Point at the gift shop. World Golf Hall of Famer and 18-time major winner, Jack Nicklaus, appeared in his first professional tournament, on January 8th, 1962 at the Los Angeles Open. Which of the 4 golf majors did he win the most in his professional career?
Should I say it now? I'll tell you off air.
No, you could say it if you want.
Masters.
The Masters at Augusta is correct.
Yeah, I thought so.
And Attila also got it correct in our chat. 18 major wins are the most of any golfer all time. There's a lot here, but I'll read all that when we get back as well. But that is our ticker trivia brought to you by City Light Shine. Chris, good job. Got the correct answer there. We'll be right back. I'll give my best bets, and we'll get you out of here on a Thursday here on Sports by the Book. Welcome back, everybody. A thank you again to Dwayne Colucci and Chris Andrews. A really fun show with them. If you want more football talk and our actual picks, make sure and join our show tomorrow, Football Frenzy, noon Pacific time. Just to finish that with the trivia here, well, quote unquote, the Golden Bear won each of the 4 golf tournaments at least 3 times apiece. The Masters at Augusta was his most successful of the 4 with 6 tournament wins. Among the long list, Palmer's 6 wins at the Augusta is the record for most wins at the Masters, and his 18 major wins are the most of any golfer anytime. So that just to get that correct there. But very good. Chris got it correct with Jack Nicklaus. So let's go ahead and get our our poll results here, what everybody liked for the alt lines. The leading choice was Ole Miss, -3.5 at +240 tonight. That total is very hard to read. I will say 45.5 is still a lot of points in a semifinals game. So maybe that under you could take a little look at that. But if you like Ole Miss, you're probably thinking it's going to be a shootout, which I could not fault you for that. So Ole Miss -3.5 +240, 46% of the votes there. So expecting a little bit of a upset here. And I know our good friend, Ryan McCormick, would enjoy that while being at the game cheering on the Rebels. Okay, last but not least, I'm not going to go through all these games. Dwayne gave us some of his hockey picks, and I'm actually going to add one on here. These are going to be much smaller bets. Anytime I do a puck line, it is a smaller bet here, but I've got a couple hockey and a couple college basketball. Some smaller games on the board, but I like these teams. And yes, there is some home revenge from last year, but I'm going with Idaho State over Northern Colorado, catching 4.5 points. This team has been great against the spread, 9-3 so far this year. So if you have been backing them taking the points, it has been very profitable for you. Next up, I am going with Utah Tech, catching 9.5. I think that is way too many points here for a team who has been playing very good right now, and at the top of the conference. Well, I don't think that is going to continue necessarily. They're the only undefeated team right now, 2-0 in the Western Athletic Conference. I think that they can hang around in this one against Cal Baptist, who has not started the year off great, 0-3 in conference play. So we're getting almost 10 points there. Couple hockey, I like the Red Wings. I'm going to take a shot with them on the puck line. Dwayne brought up the Penguins. I think that this is a good spot for them at home. And instead of playing the money line against the Devils, I am going to take a little bit of the puck line there, plus 220. Avs, good price on them at home. So that puck line is minus 105. Small bet there. And then Edmonton and Winnipeg. Dwayne was talking about both these teams and the skid that they're on. It will be Calvert Pickard going for the Oilers. I'm going to go over 6. I really don't trust either goalie right now. So I think we're going to get more goals than that. I actually made this number 6.5. So see some value there. Okay, that is it for us on this Thursday. Thank you, everybody who is watching live. I did see Attila will be in attendance. I saw yesterday the record wasn't great for the Golden Knights, so we're hoping to turn that around. And he also sliced a pizza money on Ole Miss under 25.5. So the full game total under 25.5 in that first half. Cannot fault you. First half unders have been very good. That is one of the reasons why I like tomorrow's first half under as well. Okay, that's it for us for today. For the crew and Jerry, Sean, Vince, and Drew Dog, we appreciate you. We'll all be back tomorrow, as well as Ryan McCormick. Hopefully he's enjoying his road trip and his game tonight. And for the crew, I'm Alex White. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you again tomorrow. Good luck. Cash some tickets. This has been Sports by the Book.